Good morning on this Wednesday, June 23rd, 2021. Let it be known we are excited. Our convention officially kicks off this morning with board meetings. That's not for the public, but tomorrow is the big day. But we are also extremely excited. It's always a privilege to have our national chair, Karen Carter Richards, with us this morning. But before we get to that great Houston Forward Times publisher, let us bring on the National Newspaper Publicists Association's president and CEO, Dr. Ben Chavis. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Stacey Brown. This is the day that the Lord have made. We're celebrating 194 years of the Black Press of America. On behalf of the National Newspaper Publicists Association, Karen Carter Richards, our distinguished chair, who's going to be with us in just a few minutes, we welcome everybody to this special edition of Let It Be Known.
And certainly it is a 194th anniversary, Dr. Chavis, an anniversary worth celebrating every single year, particularly given the fact that the Black press, thanks to your leadership, thanks to Karen Carter Richards' leadership, the whole executive team is stronger than ever. And you can see that during our convention. We're going to talk more about the convention. We're going to talk, of course, with our chair. But first, let us talk about the headlines, Dr. Chavis. With Republican-backed voter suppression bills sweeping the country, the Democratic majority in the U.S. Senate has quickly lost its grip on protecting voters of color and others who are marginalized at the polls. On Tuesday, a procedural vote on the House passed for the PEOPLE Act proved dead on arrival in the Senate after falling well short of the 60 votes needed. And it drew the ire of top Democrats, including former President Barack Obama, who really undressed Republicans for their opposition to this bill. Also, Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, said Donald Trump, with his despicable lies, has lit a fire under Republican state legislatures, and they have launched the most sweeping effort at voter suppression in 80 years. The GOP doesn't even want to debate, Schumer asserted. The Democrats do hold a tie-breaking vote in the evenly divided Senate. However, the Republicans filibustered the For the People Act, meaning that they needed 60 votes. The Democrats needed 60 votes, 50 Democrats and at least 10 Republicans. Not one Republican supported the For the People Act. And the Democrats had to even do last minute negotiation with their own Senator Joe Manchin of West Virginia. And Dr. Chavis, it's right now a mess in Washington, D.C.
Yes, but you know, what I always try to see is not the glass half empty, but glass half full. The vote was 50-50. 50 Democrats voted in favor of the Senate Bill 1, and 50 Republicans voted against the Senate bill. What this shows is that the Democrats have to stay united and continue to push forward for voting rights. As Senator Chuck Schumer, who also is going to be giving out a shout out to our convention over the next couple of days, stated that this is not the end. This is the beginning of a long struggle now to recapture voting rights for all Americans. Keep in mind, when Black Americans get voting rights, it inures benefits to all Americans. And that's why the Black press is so vital. And we're going to see a lot of these people, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, a lot of people from Congress will be addressing the Black press during our convention. So I am still optimistic, Stacey, that we will find a way to push forward in spite of the lethargy, in spite of the opposition. And this is voter suppression 301. What's happening in state legislatures is now being mimicked in the U.S. Senate. But, at the end of the day, I started out by saying this is the day that the Lord have made. I got my faith in the God of justice. It's going to, we got to keep praying. We got to keep struggling. We got to keep fighting. Got to keep publishing. Got to keep informing our people of what the truth is. And I think our people will respond. The way you handle voter suppression, Stacey, is have massive voter turnout in spite of these laws, in spite of these restrictions. If somebody's trying to hold you down, you got to get the strength to get up.
Yeah, and one of the good things, Dr. Chavis, is people recognize this. Priorities USA, for example, one of the biggest Democratic super PACs, announced on Tuesday that it will pump $20 million into voting rights initiatives ahead of the 2022 election cycle. That is to combat the Republican-led election laws with digital ads and organizing, as well as in the courts. The effort includes a series of extensive voter information campaigns going beyond a more traditional approach that would consist solely of persuasion ads. So they are making some moves, Dr. Tavis, as you noted, and so the Democrats certainly have just begun to fight, apparently.
That's right, and to the extent to which they use the black press, we can help them. You know, it's amazing to me that Democrats, Republicans too, as well as independents, sometimes they forget about the black church or forget about the black press when they're trying to make a move. But if you want to reach the heart and favor of African Americans, you got to go through the black church. You got to go through the black press.
Yeah, and one other thing of note in the headlines, Dr. Chavis, one other item of note, I should say, a Senate committee held a hearing on Tuesday on legislation that would establish Washington, D.C. as the nation's 51st state after the House passed the measure along party lines earlier this year. The legislation would create a state called Washington Douglas Commonwealth in honor of Frederick Douglass, the emancipation and civil rights leader. And so the hearings continue, and you know, that's something else that we have to consider when you think about it moving to the Senate and that whole filibuster situation.
Well, again, you know, I think the filibuster itself is on trial. And I think there's a debate whether or not the Senate should just do away with the filibuster. Keep in mind, the filibuster was first established as a way to protect the voting rights of slaveholding states, as well as protect the rights of those who they knew they were disproportionately outvoted. And so I think that, you know, I see the future bright. Sometimes things get dark before you can see a light of hope and moving forward. But you know, again, Stacey, because of my background in the civil rights movement, I know that what happened in the Senate yesterday is tentative. It's not final. And the question is, at the end of the day, is what the people will do. Is how we march, how we mobilize, how we vote, how we keep pushing forward in the name of John Lewis for voting rights, how we keep pushing forward, you know, to keep Dr. King's dream alive, and how we push forward to do what Cornish and talked about in 1827 about pleading our own cause. So, you know, look, we're ready to grapple, and we're ready to roll.
Ready to roll. And want to say good morning to Joni King and David Youngblood, Michelle Madison. Bobby Henry is watching down at the West Side Gazette, as always. We always appreciate Bobby. Gregory Muhammad, always good to see Gregory Muhammad. Len Spivey, and of course, all who are watching. We want to say a special good morning to the National Newspaper Publishers Association's chair, Karen Carter Richards. Good morning, Karen Carter Richards.
Good morning, Stacey. Good morning, Dr. Chavis.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and thank you so much for your leadership over the last 2 years under your tenure. The NNPA has made tremendous, unprecedented progress. We are just so grateful and thankful for your leadership.
Oh, thank you. And you guys, I tell you, you're doing a remarkable job. I'm so excited about the convention. looked at the program this morning, the final draft that you sent me, and
yes,
it's amazing. The panel discussions, the people who we are honoring. I mean, oh my God, it's just wonderful. I'm excited.
Absolutely. And you're the one that recommended John P. Key get an award, and he's not only going to accept that award, but he's going to sing that favorite song that you asked about.
Well, I tell you, he's my favorite, but he's also doing such a remarkable job in the community. Man, I couldn't be happier. John P. Key and Shaka Khan. You couldn't tell me I wasn't Shaka Khan at 15.
All right.
I had to move down and everything, but yeah, well, we're going to have a great convention, and I'm so excited. You guys again have done a phenomenal job.
Well, we have a great team, and Madam Chair, can you just talk about? I think we're the only national organization in America that has all Black women at the leadership, all the executive elected positions held by Black women. Can you just talk about what it's been like over the last 2 years to have a team of sisters, distinguished publishers, distinguished freedom fighters in their local communities, in Atlanta and you in Texas, and other places in Norfolk, Virginia, and Jackson, Mississippi, and Charlotte, North Carolina. How y'all work together as a team of distinguished Black women publishers?
And as you say that, Jackie Hampton is watching from the Mississippi Link. She's on that team too. Go ahead.
Absolutely, our national secretary.
Definitely on that team. I tell you, Dr. Chavis, it has been wonderful. 5 strong women, 5 strong publishers. We look out for each other. We help each other. We value each other's opinion. You have a woman that you can go to them and say, hey, what do you think about this? And we usually end up on the same page, whether we have to call a quick meeting to discuss some things. We stay in tune with each other. I don't, as the chairman, just take the lead. I look to them for their advice because they have some wonderful advice, and they love NMPA. They love the Black press. And so we have a same common goal to look out for all the Black papers within the organization. And we just lead with integrity. So really excited about my team.
Very good. It is a great team. And the last 2 years have been phenomenal. Give us some insight. You just did talk about the meetings you held, but can you give us even further insight? Because Karen, you know that it's been a tough 2 years for many people, many organizations, but the Black press has been thriving during this pandemic. Give us a little bit more insight on that, if you will.
I think because of the publishers, I always said, even start running 2 years ago, that we have some very talented publishers in this organization, and we relied on each other, whether we had to call and get some help or we didn't understand making the transition. Some of us had to make a total transition from print to digital, but we had publishers that stepped up and kept other papers from closing. And so that says a lot about the publishers in the organization, and that says a lot about the Black press. I give it all to the publishers and our team. Again, I mean, everything comes back to the team, to you guys in the NMPA headquarters, and our publishers helping each other. Yeah,
and you do all that work for NMPA as chair, but you also have the Houston Forward Times, and that newspaper continues to flourish. Tell us what's the latest in Houston, what you guys have been covering. I know you have a great staff led by none other than Jeffrey Boney himself, but tell us what's coming up in Houston and what we should expect from the Forward Times.
Well, we're dealing with quite a bit here in Houston. We got on the Texas governor have us with permitless carry they're trying to allow. So we really don't want that. I think Jeff's headline last week was a setup waiting to happen. If you think Black folks getting killed now, start carrying some guns without a permit. So that's one area we're tackling. Again, I heard talking about the voting rights. Of course, we're dealing with that here in Texas as well. But there's a lot going on.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always something going on. So tomorrow, today you guys have your board meeting, but tomorrow the public gets to tune into the convention at www.virtuenmpa2021.com. You mentioned John P. Key and Shaka Khan, but what else are you looking forward to, Madam Chair?
Of the panels. I looked at the schedule this morning. The panels on the heart with Pfizer's panel.
Yes.
With the heart, what is that name again, Dr. Chavis?
ATTR is a rare heart disease.
Rare heart disease
that affects African Americans. Mm-hmm.
And we're informing our community about that because a lot of us don't know about that and are suffering from that. So the panels, we have a panel from Wells Fargo.
Yes.
That I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the SBA's panel. Just a lot of panels that are going to be very informative to our community.
Yeah, and you mentioned the awards as we were just seeing some of those photos. Not only will Shaka Khan perform, but she's getting a special award. We saw Darnella Frazier, a photo of her, the young lady who is really, without her video, there's no prosecution in the George Floyd case. There's no big settlement for the family. And we're going to be saluting her. She's getting the highest journalism award that we can give. We'll hear from her. It's so many people we've lined up. Dr. Chavis, I know you've talked to the folks over who represent Darnella Frazier. What's her mindset, Dr. Chavis, when you talk to her people?
Darnella Frazier, at the time she did the videotape of the murder of George Floyd last year, she was only 17 years old. She's 18 years old now. She's preparing, thinking about her career. And Madam Chair, thank you and the Executive Committee, because we've given her also a financial scholarship. We're giving her the award, and we're going to announce the amount of the scholarship. At the time, she was so pleased that the Black Press of America thought of her at her young age as being a journalist, a photojournalist. And so she's very encouraged. And, you know, it took a lot of courage, Madam Chair, for her to do what she did in real time. You know, some people, when they see tragedies, they just walk on by, say, I'm going to have nothing to do with that. So it took a lot of courage for her to stand there. Even after police were threatening her to stop taping, she kept that cell phone on and now has made history. That she is probably going to go down in the history of photojournalism as having great courage.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. And also we have Earth, Wind and Fire's lead singer, Philip Bailey. He's going to be with us as
Lifetime
well.
Achievement Award.
Absolutely. And so many others. We have Dr. Kismikia Corbett, the African-American doctor, and she's a young doctor too, who is really, Dr. Fauci gave her the majority of the credit for developing the vaccine for the coronavirus. So we're going to hear from her. And, you know, she's at Harvard University now. She is really making some really great moves and doing some great things. So a lot of great things. You know, last year, Chair Karen Carter Richards, we had our first virtual convention. Of course, that was forced upon us because of the pandemic. And really, that went off without a hitch. People, we got a lot of praise for that. Your work, Dr. Chavis's work, of course, Claudette Perry in the main office there, the work that the team put together. And now, you know, I guess we were charged with how can we top last year, which seemed impossible at the time. But you've seen the program, Chair. Are we going to top it or what?
We are definitely going to top it. Believe it or not, Stacey, I was thinking about that last night. I said, man, because before I got the final schedule, I say, the first conference was really great. How are we going to top that? And when I looked through the program, I was like, we've topped it.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
Amazing. And again, I'm so excited about this one.
And Madam Chair, at the top of the program, we're going to have a display of the front pages. You know, we have 230 African-American owned newspapers and media companies that are members of the NMPA, and over 100 of them submitted their front pages. It's going to be a great, and this video presentation of our front pages, Madam Chair, has been sponsored this year by the Google News Initiative. Awesome. They put forth some extra resources so that we could refine. Everybody was excited about last year's photo display of the front pages. This year is going to be even more. We got more front pages, and when you hear that soundtrack that supports, it's going to be great.
Right, and I tell you, more than Black newspapers, Black-owned newspapers.
That's right. That's right.
Go. Exactly. And
very important distinction.
Black-owned.
I want to say good morning to Deborah Gilbert White, who's watching, and also the Omaha Star. Folks at the Omaha Star is watching. We had Terry Sanders on the other day. But, you know, speaking of the convention, let's take a little look at our trailer for the convention right now.
Government officials insist that this is an isolated incident.
Karen Carter Richards, distinguished chair of the NNPA, the National Newspaper Publishers Association.
We're stronger than we've ever been. I am so proud to chair this organization because we've always known that we've been a resilient people.
Absolutely. Welcome, Attorney Crump.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Stacey, and to my mentor, Dr. Ben Chavis, so many times. He has not only provided us avenue to get the message to our communities on cases that mainstream media won't cover, talking about Black lives that matter.
Hello, I'm Isaiah Thomas, and I want to salute President and CEO Ben Chavis, Senior National Correspondent Stacey Brown, and the entire NNPA executive team of Karen Carter Richards on the 194th anniversary of the Black Press of America.
Hi, this is Congressman Cedric Richmond, Senior Advisor to President Biden and Director of the White House Office of Public Engagement, wishing NNPA a happy 81st anniversary and the Black Press of America a happy 194th anniversary.
Oh, the Black Press of America is absolutely critical in so many ways, but particularly for what you and I are talking about today.
As Speaker of the House, it is my honor to bring congratulations to the Black Press of America.
The Black press was so important in my whole upbringing and my success of my career. You know, Ebony and Jack and Amsterdam News and Harlem and all of that was so important.
John P. Key.
I grew up reading the Carolina Times, so the Black press was so important to us as a family.
Yeah, that
Wow, it's awesome.
It's awesome, right? And you know, we didn't even talk about, as you saw a small clip, Stephanie Mills. There's going to be a special session there with Stephanie Mills, and plus, you know, she has a brand new song called "Let's Do the Right Thing," and we're going to also have that as well during the convention. Again, people, it's not too late to register. www.virtuennpa2021.com. Register. It's free. And all of that is just amazing. And you think about it, you're going to have a concert from Shaka Khan, free. Stephanie Mills, John P. Key. We also are going to have this great young new soul and jazz performer, Candace Hoyes, who Dr. Chavis absolutely adored, and he had to have her at the convention. So we're going to have a great lineup. As you mentioned, the panels, we saw Dr. Fauci, and there's so many others, the CDC, SBA. So a lot to be gained, not just entertainment wise, but also informational wise. And you guys have done a great job with that. Chair, you got to be proud. I know that this is not a campaign time, but you are up for re-election for the chair spot. What are you looking forward to in the next 2 years?
The next 2 years, I hope that we can get out now. Because of the pandemic, we weren't able to do some things in our regions that Dr. Chavis and I had planned to do. So we have 5 regions within NNPA. So we had a plan for that. And so we're looking to get out to start traveling and putting some things in place for the regions.
Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I know that before the lockdown, you did have what was it, like I don't want to call it a boot camp, but you had something going on with the publishers out in, I believe, in Texas or wherever you guys went, right. And you got the publishers together, and that was something that we had rarely seen at that point. At the publishers getting together at the behest of the chair, not just for a conference or a convention, but this was. Really, fellowship was involved there. How important is that?
To me, that is key. We all have to sit around the table. One person's idea isn't the only idea. We're functioning better when all of us come together and decide, not just one view. It takes all of our views, because somebody in California could be doing some great things or have some great ideas. So I love partnering with them and just sitting around talking about what's next for the Black press, we're doing some great things, and I'm just enjoying that.
Yeah, Dr. Chavis,
Yes.
close with our chair.
Yes, and before we close, I just want to note that family is important to the Black press.
Awesome.
And I would like for our chair just to talk about, she actually grew up in the Black press. She didn't join the Black press. She grew up in it. Can you just let all of our viewers, thousands of people who are watching this morning, know the importance of how the Black press is, in many of our instances, Black-owned newspapers, family-owned newspapers. Can you just highlight the importance of family in your progression?
It's very important. My father was the founder of a paper. We've been in business 61 years. And unfortunately, my father died when I was 9 years old. But I just remember, and then my mother took over the paper and ran it through its 50th year. And I just remember they always talked about the importance of the community. And we always had most of our family here, my aunts, my grandfather, everybody was here. And we knew that it was our mission to serve the community. It was just unspoken, that this is what we did. And so I see the same thing throughout our organization. I mean, we have papers that are over 100 years old, and the Afro is like the same family, 128 years?
Yes.
And so it's very important.
Yeah, absolutely. And Vash Body is watching. KP Hodges, she says, we are functioning better when all of the publishers have a voice. Karen Carter Richards. So KP is always a delight, I tell you. We need to see more of KP. Dr. Chavis, this has been, a great way to really get the conference or the convention going. And in fact, we have a surprise this afternoon just to whet people's appetite for the convention. We're going to have at 1 o'clock today, Jerome Benton from Morris Day and the Time join us at 1 o'clock Eastern live to kick off the national convention in that way. You guys are going to kick it off with the board meeting this morning, but we're going to kick it off and get people even more excited with, I think, the coolest guy in music and entertainment, Jerome Benton. I got to see Jerome and many others in that crazy movie Under the Cherry Moon with Prince. And of course, we saw him in Purple Rain with Prince, but we also saw him in Morris Day make some great music together. So we're going to hear from Jerome Benton at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And don't forget, too, on the weekends, there is the Chavis Chronicles on PBS and PBS TV, which is an extension of the Black Press of America, and really some really thought-provoking commentary and conversations there. You don't want to miss it. It's every Sunday morning. Check your local listings, PBS TV and PBS World. That guy right there, our great and fearless leader, the NMPA's president and CEO, Dr. Ben Chavis, hosts the Chavis Chronicles. Let it be known, becoming strong doesn't start in the gym. It starts in your head. Have a great day, everybody, and join the NMPA's virtual convention at virtualnmpa2020.com. We'll see you at 1 o'clock today with Jerome Benton, and tomorrow we'll see you all day for the national convention. Have a great day.